What's going on YouTube? It is Trev. All right. I want to talk a little bit more about this proposal that's on Agora, submitted by Edward Kim regarding funding for this legal counsel for the Terra Classic Network going forward. So I had read the proposal, released the video, my initial thoughts on it. Good thing about Agora, right? Putting things on Agora, this process that we have, is that it gives people time to reflect on what's happening. Gives you a time to kind of internalize it, right? And kind of form your perspective, form your idea. It gives you time to do some DD, right? Do your own research, do your due diligence, your deep dive, whatever you want to call it. And then, before you actually have to vote. So let me, I'm going to show you a few different things. And, again, fair warning. I've got some stuff to show you, and I've got some opinions on some things, and I have a lot of questions. So this is not going to be a short video, but these are things that I think we should all be talking about and considering regarding all this. All right, so anyway, this was the proposal, and this, in a previous video, I read through it. We talked a little bit about it. I gave some initial ideas. So the gist of it is that we need legal representation. This community is very anxious for the value of LUNC to start going up. We've been here for a little while now, almost a year, coming up on a year, and we've accomplished some things, right? We've done a lot of things, a lot of foundational things that are very, very important and needed to be done with the code and with the software upgrades and updates and whatever, right? We've done all that stuff, and that was really good. Put together this L1 task force, a lot of accomplishments, right? But the majority of the community, and I've always said this, that stuff is okay and it's really good and it's necessary, all right, but what are we doing to actually set us up to start building some value and increasing the price? Well, we haven't done a lot as far as that goes because some of this other stuff needed to be done first. So the community right now is pretty anxious for something to actually start moving the price. And every time something comes out that sounds like it's a halfway good idea, everybody's like, yeah, let's do that. All right, let's do that. Let's go, right? You don't do your due diligence. You don't do your own research. You just say, okay, that's going to get the price up? Awesome. Sounds great. Let's do it, right? And you vote for it or whatever. Not really the way to go about it. So with this proposal, kind of same thing. Now, between the video that I did on the proposal and the conversation, the live chat that I did with Lunkburn Army, the project manager of the L1 task force, and Marco, the soon to, I don't know if it's really changed hands yet from Ed to Marco, but basically the kind of the lead for Terra Grants Foundation, had a conversation with them about this law firm that they collectively found. I don't know exactly who looked for this law firm. I don't know who interviewed or talked to the various law firms to come up with this one, right? But these guys, I guess, were involved in whatever way. And we talked to them about that, and the question was asked by me, what are they saying about the repeg in USTC? Because that's another thing, really one of the main things right now that the community is hot on, right? What can we do about USTC? Can we repeg USTC? Because a lot of people feel that if we can repeg USTC, that it will rapidly get us back to where Luna was in the first place. So the conversation came up, and they talked about how they had interviewed, if you will, or talked to several different law firms, finally settling on this particular law firm to represent us and help us navigate the different complexities involved with repegging and whatever else comes up, right? A lot of the regulations that are trying to be forced down our throats by the U.S. government and various other entities around the world. I thought that was a good idea. I still think it's a good idea. I don't think that particularly this chain, because this chain is the one that depegged. This is the one that lost billions of dollars and maybe even some lives because of it. This is the one that the government is really grabbing hold of and saying, look what happened, right? They're using it as an example. They're using it as a weapon. So particularly in this chain, I believe that in order to really move forward with anything major as far as development and advancement, we need to know what the legalities are going to be. And so I guess it seemed logical to find some sort of legal counsel that may have some expertise in this and can really give us the answers that we need so we know whether we should proceed with certain things or not. And that's a good idea. Upon reflection, right? The problem with that is that these are uncharted waters. This hasn't been an issue before, right? There is no law firm that has ever dealt with these exact issues. There are law firms who have helped other cryptocurrency projects or blockchains or whatever to launch, to navigate whatever they've navigated. Nobody's ever had to navigate this yet. So this particular law firm that they settled on, I have questions as to why exactly they settled on them. And I know that a lot of it has to do with, they helped Solana launch. They've got extensive experience with cryptocurrency, some big cryptocurrency projects, right? But I wonder what questions were asked when they began to talk about this USTC thing and the regulations in the hunt on stable coins. Because what we were told by Marco, when I asked, do they think that it's possible? Do they think that we can go ahead and repeg USTC? Yes, was the answer that we got, right? We all heard it. So how? How do they know that already when there are so many things that are yet to be settled, right? So I wonder what questions were asked. I wonder what the plan is, what this law firm told these guys to convince them that we're okay to go ahead and move on this. And the reason that I wonder that is because I didn't know about it until you did, right? This seems to me like something, if anything, this really seems like something that the Community Oversight Committee should have been involved with. And I don't know about the other guys. I'm not going to speak for them, but I didn't know a thing about it. Nobody told me anything about it at all. They were interviewing other law firms. I didn't get any updates on that kind of stuff, right? They finally settled on this particular one. Didn't get any updates on it. Nobody came and said, hey, Trev, as a member of the Community Oversight Committee, we want to let you know what we're doing, what we're planning, which way we're going with this, what's being told to us. How do you think the community would feel about that? Do you have any thoughts? Do you have any questions? Whatever. Nothing. They just went ahead and did this with no oversight whatsoever. Okay? And I need to make that clear to the community because I, again, upon reflection, thinking about all this and letting it settle in, I don't think that was right. I think this is absolutely something that the committee should have been involved with. And I think that it's something that the mere intention of doing this, I think that it's something that the community should have been informed of. This is what we're doing. We're interviewing people, and some things were said about it. I just don't know that it was to the extent of what we've found out very recently in with this proposal, right? Because here we have a proposal already written up, fully written up, to not only hire this particular law firm, this Horizons Law, but to break down Terra Grants Foundation, to open up something in the Cayman Islands, to create a DAO, to deal with another law firm there. We have a whole thing here that was dropped on us, and a lot of this stuff we didn't even know was coming, right? Well, at least it goes to Agora first and gives everybody an opportunity to look at it, to do some due diligence, right? I have one particular subscriber who is someone that I've talked to a few times in the past. Seems like a great guy to me, but I don't know him personally is basically what I'm saying, right? And he has taken it upon himself to really dive into this because, sometimes you just get a funny feeling about something. And so he has done what I wish a lot more people would do, and he's really done a little bit of a deep dive. He's still going on it because he's doing such a deep dive that he's taking it incrementally, right? And he's found a few little things that didn't really make him feel too comfortable, but it also set some things off in my head and set me thinking in some certain ways and led me down a couple of different directions doing my own DD, right? So, where we are exactly with this law firm, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. A lot of questions. So, here are some of the things that I've been looking at. Now, I was wondering to myself, and then someone else that I spoke to that, helped me to see some things. I was wondering to myself about the Cayman Islands, right? Because whenever you hear about the Cayman Islands, it's, people hiding things in the Cayman Islands, right? So I spoke to someone who is pretty up on the EU. And this person tells me that the Cayman Islands was, for a long time, blacklisted by the EU. You were barred or banned from doing business with any Cayman entity, right? So I started researching that, and I could find as far back as 2017, the EU had blacklisted the Cayman Islands. Any entities in the Cayman Islands, they kind of forbade you from doing any business with them. Let me take you to, let me see if I can, and this is just a Yahoo search, right? But, if you do a Yahoo search for it, you'll come up with a bunch of stuff, okay? In this March 6th, well, I'll get to that one in a second. So this is this one here is like back in October 6th of 2020. The Cayman Islands were actually removed at that point from the EU's blacklist, right? And then in January of 21, Cayman faces new EU blacklisting. Cayman Islands headline. All right. What you'll find out when you read this one here, if you go to this one here and read this one here, what you'll find out is they were removed from the blacklist and put on a gray list, right? They were gray listed, which means there's still a gray area. In other words, we're going to remove you kind of provisionally. We're still watching you very, very carefully, right? And then you see again in 21, now they're looking at being back on this blacklist again. Where exactly they are today, apparently there are certain nations of the EU, maybe that provisionally will still do some business and don't necessarily have them blacklisted. Maybe they have them gray listed or whatever. But there are others, and what I'm told, I haven't independently verified this, but from what I'm told, Switzerland, France, Germany, Austria, and Romania still have the Cayman Islands entities blacklisted, They won't do business with them, right? It's because of a lot of money laundering and other illicit activity that the Cayman Islands is infamous for. It makes me wonder, and this is just me wondering, this is not me saying anything in particular, but it does make me wonder why anyone would want to specifically target that area to open up and start this new DAO, this new entity. Why specifically the Cayman Islands? Of all the places in the world that you could do it, right? Wasn't too sure about that. There was something else over here. This European Union. This was as of March 6th, this year came out. And you can read through this, and it tells you a bunch of stuff about, certain things that are allowed and that aren't allowed, and certain nations that, are good and not good. But basically, if you go to it, and this was, again, March 6th this year, this just passed, right? As of today, the following countries are identified as high-risk third countries. And if you go to number 5 on the list, there's the Cayman Islands. It doesn't seem to be a real reputable and good place to conduct business. A lot of people find them very, very shady. So why is the recommendation of this law firm to go to the Cayman Islands? Why is that the place to go? Not really sure. Well, this subscriber of mine, he started looking into the team here at Horizons. And, I don't know if everybody's aware of this, because I think I saw something and I wasn't even aware of it until somebody told me. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird that they're using like NFTs for their pictures. I know they're doxed or whatever, but why are they using these NFTs? I don't know if everybody realizes this, but if you go to this website and you go to the NFT, there he is. You can actually flip it around and see the person's actual picture. Okay. So I wouldn't have known that unless somebody told me, because I didn't run my clicker over that, right? But this is Ryan Nixon. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. I apologize. And he is the founding partner. And this is the gentleman who actually was, I guess, the lead counsel or whatever when Solana was launched. Okay, right? But this is the lead guy. This is the guy that's kind of running the thing, right? So the subscriber of mine started there, started looking and diving into Mr. Nixon, Attorney Nixon. He hasn't even gone down the line yet, but I expect he's going to. And some things that we found out about Mr. Nixon. So I'm going to pull this over to this screen. I think you should be able to see this. So this is the State Bar of California. It's believed that this law firm is based out of California. They have this California address, Horizons Law and Consulting Group, 222 Pacific Coast Highway, 10th floor, El Segundo, California. Now this is, it appears to be a building just chock full of corporate offices, right? Kind of no big deal about that, really. If they're specifically working on cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, I wonder how much these people are even in the office. I mean, it seems like a lot of that work can be done kind of remotely or via like Zoom calls or whatever, right? I don't think you have clients walking in saying, hey, can you represent me? So anyway, this is where they are, California. There is a phone number and Mr. Nixon's personal email or company email. And if we go to more about this attorney and we start scrolling down, he is, I guess it says none, so I assume that means he is not a member of the California Law Association. What he reports as his practice areas is just one, corporate law. This is what he reports as his, the area of practice, okay? Does not speak any other foreign languages, which is fine. Attended UCLA School of Law, very impressive. And so if we go down, we find that he passed the bar or was admitted to the Bar of California in December of 2013, so for a while now. But then in July, the 1st of July of 2022, his license was suspended. Not eligible to practice law in California. The reason given says failed to pay fees. Now, I haven't been able to find anywhere where it goes into detail as far as what those fees are. So I'm going to assume, but know that I do not know this for a fact. I'm going to assume that this had something to do with legal fees, right? Maybe there's some fee that needs to be paid to maintain your license, a fee paid to the bar or something like that. Maybe these are the fees. Now listen, this isn't, he was suspended for fraud, or he was suspended for, screwing, some customers or clients or whatever you want to call it. It's nothing catastrophic like that, I don't know what happened. Maybe the guy was out of the country or whatever, busy doing something and didn't get around to paying his fees or whatever. They suspended his license. The only little red flag for me here about that is that at this point he had been a member of the bar and an official attorney for like 9 years. How do you even let that happen? Is it a little negligent? Is it a little absent-minded? Yeah, but we don't really know the whole story. Bottom line is, though, this is really something silly to have on your record, and I'm not sure how that happened, but there it was. Now, this only lasted for a matter of a few weeks, because as of the 22nd of July, he was active again, so I'm assuming he just paid whatever fees or whatever. But this is the only thing that I could really find on his record. Not that huge of a deal, but one of those things that make you go, just a little weird. So something else that, let me put this back where it was. Something else that came up. Make me make sure that I have the right thing. So remember this face, okay? Take a good look at this gentleman's face. Remember this face. So the same subscriber of mine pointed me to a YouTube video that was done 3 months ago. And it was a very long, looks like it's 2 hours long, to be honest with you. I haven't even gotten through the whole thing. Very long interview with that particular attorney Ryan Nixon, right? And I want you to listen to this one particular segment right here.
Fly out to say the BVI or Malta or any of these countries and talk to like the local legislation there and figure out a structure for your startups? Or how do these entities just kind of spring out of nowhere? And I feel like it's a trend too. Once one person starts doing it, like everybody starts copying this entity that works for now until the next one comes.
Yeah, sure. Good question. Well, lawyers, I tell my junior guys, they come in and they think like they're just going to like make a contract, like you're just going to write it up and figure out the right way. No, it's none of that, right? Being a lawyer, especially like a corporate transaction lawyer, is a lot like being a developer, right? You have a code base, you pull the shit that works, you tweak the ones where you want to do something a little different, and that's it. I mean, it's the same thing. We have precedent, we tweak here, we give it to the client, they show it to the investor, they make notes, we update it, but it's really just a couple of places. So what does that mean? That means lawyers, we're always watching how people are raising, the structure they've used, the structures they've used in the past. Have there been any issues? Have there been any issues, say even now versus when they did, because some time has passed. So there's been a lot of, fundraising with structures where they either start domestically with a BVI, to your point, Cayman BVI Foundation or a Swiss Foundation. Now, we were working very closely with some offshore firms and was giving them a lot of referrals. I think there are some really good offshore firms out there right now. I think in general, offshore firms, they move a little bit slower. They're just not like U.S. founders, U.S. lawyers. It's known that we work a lot. We work all the time. If you're a lawyer in the U.S., you work all the time. If you're a lawyer in BVI Cayman, you work sometimes. If you're a lawyer in Switzerland, you work once in a while, and hey, respect to all of them, right? But what we did was in BVI Cayman, I found one of like the best, there's like 4 or 5 big firms out there that are really doing a good job. I found their top guy and I got him to join. So, so a new
Nice.
rollout. Yeah. So we will have like
Wow.
Horizons Global. We already have the URL and all that, but that'll be fully rolled out by February 1. So for our
Wow.
projects, yeah. So, you come through,
Wow.
you raise with us, we'll kick you to our Cayman guy. He'll handle that piece, but it's a dedicated person just for projects that we work with in the space. He's not on a boat. He's doing this like directly with the team. His crypto knowledge will be significantly increased as a result. I have like a tokenomics framework seminar, like just that we sort of built in-house and, rolling out to my teams. Like lawyers aren't doing that anywhere else, right? Like we're doing that. Like a lot of lawyers in this space aren't trying to expand, their horizons, right? Pun intended.
Right.
But that's what I think makes us different. So yeah. we'll have this BVI Cayman branch. When I was in Breakpoint, Lisbon, I flew over to Zurich because I'm very close with like Ryan Zur with Dialectic, an LP,
Wow.
and like Lily Lee with Anagram. So I went over there to see them. Met with MME, which is sort of like the who's who Swiss firm, right? They did the Ethereum Foundation. Met with their new partner. They're trying to change up some things, and because they got a little bit of a bad rap because they helped the Ethereum Foundation sort of get spun up, and I think they took 40% of their fees in ETH at the pre-sale.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah, or 30 or something like that. But they're chilling, man. They're chilling. So
Print it.
Yeah, it's really hard for them to work after that. So I get it. I totally get it.
That's why they goes to once in a while.
Yeah.
They hit the jackpot there.
Yeah. But rather than sort of just keep, which I have a good relationship with MME. Any projects you guys are talking to, if they need a referral to them, let me know. I'll give you a very good warm referral. But if it's not under my umbrella, I think we've just really done an excellent job of kind of changing the way you practice law, like the way you practice law in the space, the way you do this stuff is just a little different if you want to be like quote unquote crypto native, right?
Yeah.
It really is. Like you have to know how to do the docs. You have to know the newest trends. You have to be quick with like OkiDAO decision. We were very much DAO first, which is sort of, some people have been like, oh, why'd you do that? Look at OkiDAO. And it's like, well, the government can do whatever they want. And just because they came out with this poor decision doesn't mean we weren't doing things the right way. However, now that they do have the decision, we kind of have to change our advisement, right? So you have to be very nimble. You have to get the technology. I always say like my team, they can wear a light developer's hat. They're not coding Rust or Solidity, but they can talk about how the smart contract functions. It's all very important too when it comes to decentralization, right?
Yeah.
We're also VCs, right? I encourage everybody in the team to get exposure to projects that from the MDV side we're investing in. I have a lot of like pretty cool ways to get them involved. But by doing that, by having skin in the game, it also changes everything. Like as a lawyer, I can tell you, I've worked on plenty of deals before I even did my first angel check, like a small little investment, like not even a 20K check, like a 5K check. I didn't get it until I eventually did my first deal. Then it all started to make a little more sense because your incentives are aligned. Now you have skin in the game. You know what it looks like to sign one of these agreements, to get your tokens. What do you do next? Like it's a whole thing that I think can't be replicated without going through these reps and doing these deals. And so much the same way, I want to bring that same sort of training and dedication with our new offshore branch. And I think it's pretty exciting.
I think you made a really important.
All right. With our new offshore branch. So, this puts things a little bit into perspective for me. And I don't know that I'm assuming I'm making the proper assumptions, but I have the questions. Are we moving to the Cayman Islands? Are we shutting down TGF? And are we opening up this DAO and going to the Cayman Islands and hiring this law firm that we don't even know who they are yet, right? Or maybe we now do. Are we doing all this because these guys are opening up a new wing in the Cayman Islands, this global wing, right? He said that they have other affiliates or partners or whatever down there that they kind of, trade work off with, and that he's found some of the best people. And maybe that's all well and good. Maybe that's all true. But this interview clearly points out that they are looking to expand their law firm and go global and have this offshore firm or whatever you want to call it in the Cayman Islands, right? This branch. So when we talk about we're going to open up down there and we're going to have some sort of law firm down there, is this the law firm? Is it just their wing of what's happening down there? Is it one of their affiliates? Is this just part of the portfolio? Is Terra Classic a feather in the cap of this new wing that's being opened up? This new offshore wing? I don't know, right? I just wonder if these questions were asked. I wonder if anybody knows about all this stuff, right? Because I want to know that this law firm was chosen because they are the best law firm for Terra Classic. I want to know that these decisions that are being made because they are the best path for Terra Classic. I don't want to know that these decisions are being made because they're the best decision for this law firm. That, we're just being, we're going on the roster. Here's our first or maybe, added to what we've got going on down there. And here we go. Now we can expand what we're doing. And what a feather in the cap to have Terra Classic and maybe even to build it into whatever. I mean, I really don't, I just don't know what's going on, right? But why the Cayman Islands, right? Of all places in the world to pick, why there? I think this interview just showed us exactly why they picked it. It might be, I'm not saying that it definitely is, but it might be for maybe in a way some sort of selfish reasons, right? Maybe it's not necessarily the best place that we should be. But it's where these guys are setting up camp, so that's where they're saying, hey, this is what you should do. You should immediately get down to the Cayman Islands. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. A lot of questions that need to be answered. Were these conversations had? Were the guys even aware of this stuff? I reached out to Lump Burn Army, and I presented them with a little bit of this stuff, right? Some things that were sent to me. And I was told, basically, yeah, that's something that we can look into, right? And I haven't heard anything since. But in fairness, it is the weekend. I mean, this was yesterday that I sent it. And, at least I got some reply. It's Sunday. I may not hear anything back until Monday or maybe sometime during the week or whatever. I understand the guys are busy and that they should take their weekends to kind of spend it with family or do whatever they're doing, right? But I'm just saying, I haven't heard anything back yet. And when I do, I will absolutely let you know. Now, the last question I have is this. Let's say everything checks out. Let's say there are answers to all of these questions and answers to all of everybody's questions. And we go ahead and we say, all right, this is the best bet. This is the best law firm for us, this Horizons. And let's go ahead and do it, right? So we're looking at $120,000 up front. And that's $20,000 for a retainer, right? The retainer is, best you can do on a retainer is maybe get some advice. You're not getting any legal stuff done on the retainer for that retainer money, right? $100,000 to set up this whole DAO and whole system down in the Cayman Islands. What happens if we get into this And because it is uncharted territory, there ends up being a lot more legal, stuff to go through than they anticipated, or they could have anticipated, because it's all new, right? What happens if we end up in court? Because remember, Terra Classic is the original Luna. There's no guarantee that they won't come for this chain or won't try to wrap it up in some way. Some people will sit and tell you, absolutely not, there's no way, there's no way. But there is no way to know. You cannot know what the U.S. government or any other government is going to do, and you're foolish to put anything past them to think that you know what they will attempt and what they won't attempt, right? So let's say that we end up in court over this at some point. How much is that going to cost? Is this law firm going to represent us? And are they going to say, well, we'll represent you, but it's going to cost, X amount of money that we don't have. Where are we getting the money from already? We still have to figure out the $120,000 for this if we pass it. And then, I think we heard somewhere around $200,000 for Q2 for the L1 task force and this L2 support team and, whatever else is going on, right, that we'll find out, I guess, in the next proposal. Where is all this coming from? We're spending an awful lot of money. There's a lot of money going out, but what's coming back in? And what are we getting for the money? I wish I had answers to all this stuff. I wish I could tell you the best way to go and what to do to actually make this chain work. But I don't have those answers. And I'm starting to realize nobody else really does either. We're all just trying what we think is best. So I don't know. I'm not sure where to go, but I am looking forward to a lot of these questions being answered and figuring out if this is the best way to go. For all of you who are like, yeah, absolutely, let's go, let's do it, let's move forward. Yeah, we got a legal, they say that we can repeg, let's do it, right? No. No, that's not how it goes. You shouldn't be that way. We have to make sure it's the right thing to do. We don't want to get on the other end of this and find out that we spent $150,000 or $120,000 on one thing and they ended up doing something else with it, right? Have we been through that already? Yep, right? Do we want to do that again? No, we don't. So we should not rush into this. We should make sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and every question is answered. And we may find out that, no, I guess this isn't the way to go at all. Matter of fact, if you read through the comment section on the Agora, it's getting slammed. It's getting slaughtered. Again, you got those few people who will say, yeah, sure, let's go, let's go. But that's because those are the moon boys. Those are the ones that just, let's do something, whatever, let's do something. We got to start somewhere, I've heard, right? I don't like that at all. We got to start somewhere, so we just jump in with 2 feet and don't really think about what we're doing. It's just not how I operate, right? I don't know about anybody else. All right. If you guys have any other information about any of this, if you have any questions or if you just want to chat about it, jump up in the chat section and let's chat about it. We're also chatting about it on Twitter. We're chatting about it on Agora. And we're going to continue to chat about this. And I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, and I'm sorry if I pissed anybody off who was watching this, maybe even some people who, expected me to maybe be on a different side of this. But you should know this is what you get from me, my honest opinion. No matter who you are, I got to call it as I'm seeing it, right? So if you could, for me, hit the like button on the way out, and we'll continue to talk about this as time goes on. All right, y'all. Ciao.